And hello. Now, to continue on my ongoing vlogging and stuff on the world of being a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator, so I'm on my next one. So I've done, my first one was on the tools and stuff and the equipment, and then I did a second one on just simply the explosion of investigations and ghost hunters and stuff and the paranormal throughout the world, which is really cool. So I figured this time I'll go over the investigation itself. You know, what do we do? How do we do it? Why do we do it? Any of these things that I go over as far as doing a paranormal investigation, this is a culmination of watching a lot of different investigators do the thing, a lot of TV, a lot of reading up, and then based on everything else and all my 5 years experience, I've come up with my own technique and way in which I do a paranormal investigation, which doesn't necessarily mean that's the way you want to do yours, so don't worry about it. So I would say I'm just going to put out a lot of information there, a lot of possibilities, a lot of things to think about, and go ahead, and if you want to do some investigation, take any parts of it that you want, or hopefully it'll open your eyes some things of what we do and how we do it. So without further ado, so again, this is all based on, I got my notes, my computer's got 3 monitors, and on this monitor over here, I've got all my notes and stuff, and then what I'm watching you is in front of me. So, for investigation, this entire technique, the paranormal investigation basics, I guess I'm going to title it. It's just, again, based on my personal experiences, reading, going online. Like I said, there's a lot of information online, a lot of from, I mean, geez, there's no age limit, there's no nothing, just people who want to go out there and do it. So for doing an investigation, you can do an investigation just for the fun of it. You can do an investigation, try to do something to prove something. That's why I say, as an investigator, you can spend $0 or you can spend a few $1,000s in your equipment, or don't have any equipment at all, just use your cell phone. So let's go on into the investigation itself. So you get ready to do a paranormal investigation. This is basically some of the things that I do and things that I go through. Anyway, pretty much I got it down to what I call 3 different phases. You have a walkthrough, a daytime walkthrough in the daytime, and then you got to walk through again at nighttime. Again, any of these things that I'm talking about, you can do, you can't do, you throw it away. You know, it's a matter of what you want to do, how thorough you want to be. I'm kind of one of them logical, thorough guys. And then the last phase of a paranormal investigation is a final analysis. Now, again, some investigators on TV, if you watch them, as they go on, they do their own analysis, which I think is rather humorous. So during the investigation, what do we got? Well, we for tools for an investigation, because I like to document what I'm doing, so other people can see it or know what's going on, or I can go back and look at it later on. So you have all these tools that we can get a hold of to help us in investigation to become more credible or just have more fun. I mean, really, man, the adrenaline stuff during the investigation just goes through the roof. So as far as tools is concerned, you've got audio and audio recordings. You can take pictures, video. There's some other things that some of the investigators do. Most of us are really, really against it. Bringing in a Ouija board, I don't think that's very smart to bring in and try to do an investigation with a Ouija board. I stay away from them myself. Some of them do maybe go in there and do this seance. If you think you want to do a seance, I am not qualified, and I wouldn't do one myself. If someone wants to go in and do that kind of stuff, they should find somebody that has experience with them, because you're liable to be going through some doors you don't want to go into. So, and as far on all of your, and then again, when you start using the equipment, thing to remember on your equipment which is also helpful later on is keep track of the date and the time and the location. My cameras do it automatically. Some of the newer cameras, they got that GPS thing, so they'll put in the bottom of it or information inside the picture, what time the picture or the video was taken, where you were located at, because it's got built-in GPS and that kind of stuff. On my audio recordings, that's how I usually start out the audio. I'll start it off with a leader. You know, this is me, I'm such and such a place, at this date, at this time, I'm doing a EVP at such and such an area. So that's what I usually do, the date stamping and time, which is a good thing to do, keep track of it. So let's go on and get into a little bit more detail on your daytime walkthrough. Now I like to do, some investigators don't, some do, it's again personal preference. I like to go in and start an investigation with a daytime walkthrough. I'll put in a micro, I'll do a record, the whole time I'm in there I'll do a recording. The idea of a daytime is to get the looks of the area that you're in, whether it be a cemetery or a house or an abandoned building or structure, something like that. I recommend going around and just taking a lot of pictures, because you never know what you're going to catch when you're taking pictures. So I like to go around, the whole time I'm doing this, I'll be recording it the daytime, so you never know what you're going to pick up in the daytime while you're there. Ghosts don't just hang around during nighttime. A lot of things happen during the daytime also. Do the videos. Another reason I like to take pictures on the outside, on the inside, is sometimes when things happen, you know, you might hear something drop, you might hear something move, and then that way there, and you're going around there and you look at it and you're doing something suddenly dropped or fell down, and you go back and go, man, was that there before? And that's why I like to do the daytime walkthrough, to get a good idea. Other than that, I'll walk through the area, what it looks like, and what to be careful of, where to go, where not to. So it's usually what I do. And then again, a lot of audio. I go crazy again with these digital cameras nowadays. One thing you cannot do is take too many pictures or take too much video. You can always go through later on and edit it out. So, and then the important thing, you got the nighttime. Now this is where everything starts getting eerie and scary and that kind of stuff. During nighttime walkthrough, again, it's a whole different story. It's a different creature. This is when I get out and I do my EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon, and that's when you're just asking questions or listening. And it's really amazing how things been going on, and later on you go back and you hear a voice in the background, and when you were doing your investigation you didn't hear it at the time. So audio recorder, doing EVPs. I've also that's when I kick out the equipment, your K2 meters, your spirit box, your REM pods, all this kind of place in different places, so as to sense things that you don't see, so you can go back and take a look at it. And again, you'll tell that a large majority of these investigations are done in the evening. I guess pretty mostly it's just for it's scarier and more energetic, but on the more important part is it's been pretty much documented that you have what's called the witching hours, which is midnight and 3 a.m. And supposedly, according to religion and looking back and talking to other investigators, most of the time that's the most energetic part of the day. That if you're going to come across a spirit or whatever, that's when it's going to happen. Again, and they call them the witching hour. One witching hour is at 12 o'clock midnight, but there's another one at 3 a.m. And you'll notice that some of the stories and that you have in the back, like for example the Devil's Chair, there's one on that you go there at midnight, and there's another one where you show up at 3 a.m. and you can talk to the devil. So you know, they get pretty much wrapped up on these witching hours. Again, it's the night, things that go boom, so they like to do this in the dark time, especially for television and for entertainment purposes. Okay, so you go through and you take all your pictures and do your recordings. after that, the final part, and last but not least, is what I call the analysis. So the thing about the analysis, and another one of my notes that I got when you leave. A lot of these paranormal investigators have noted that there's I completely lost it. It's a part of a demonstration that all paranormal investigators should do. When they finish up on an investigation, you're getting ready to leave the area. You should turn around and face the area, and then just voice, whatever spirits or so forth that I met here, stay here. You are not permitted to go with me. You are not to attach yourself to me. And that way, what that's supposed to do is, they say, the investigators or some of the religious people say, if you don't do that, supposedly a entity, spirit, whatever you want to call it, sometimes they'll either follow you home or they'll attach themselves to you. So next thing you know, you got a lot more things that go bump in the dark that didn't have that beforehand. So I recommend it also. The more the merrier. You can never be too careful. So that's part as far as the final part of the walkthroughs itself. Now then, you'll see a lot of these people, a lot of investigators, they will do their analysis while they're doing their investigation. I find it rather silly myself. That's when you see these investigators and they'll take out and they'll do some recordings, and then they'll stop the recorder and then they'll do a playback. Think about it. Just think about it. Look at the size of the recorder. Look at the speaker in the recorder. Do you actually intend to get any kind of quality return out of that thing? I mean, do you really expect it to sound properly with that little 2 or 3 cent speaker inside that auto recorder? No. And then also, they're going through their audio, the video recordings, or they're taking pictures, and all of a sudden, look! And they back up the video recording. Okay, first of all, you've completely blown, in my opinion, you've blown your, you're not focused anymore. You've blown what you're trying to prove. You're on a run. You think you see something. You think you hear something. You're trying to logically go through the area that you're investigating, one area at a time. The idea of stopping and going back and doing your analysis while you're doing the investigation, you just lose everything. You lose that train of thought. You lose all that stuff that's going on. So I go on. I just keep all my stuff and I go on through with my investigation. So going through that, and then what I do is I like to wait, and I'll go on home and I'll chill out and I'll relax. Because you've been doing the investigation. You do the daytime and the nighttime walkthrough. By the time you get home, yeah, it kind of takes a little bit out of you. And I like to go through at the end of the day. And what I'll do is I take all of my audio recordings and my video and my pictures, and I bring them into this workstation that I built, that I'm talking to you on right now. And it's got a lot. It's got the nice big computer screen. It's a better screen. It's wider. I've got this detailed software. Because the thing about doing an investigation that some people don't understand, when you're doing an investigation, you're focused. You're watching in front of you. You're watching what you're looking at. You're hearing these sounds. You're going back and forth. What happened there? What was that? The thing about during the investigation is there's a lot going on around you that you need to be careful of. So it's not as much as what you're seeing and what's in front of you during the investigation, but everything else is going on around you. That's why I like to do the pictures and the video and the audio recordings, because you can go back, and if you've got some good software, you can go back to and look. You're relaxed, you're taking it easy, you're sitting down, drink a glass of water, got yourself your screen, your monitor in front of you, you got some halfway decent software on the computer, and you go back and you start looking at what you recorded again. And that's when there's a chance you're going to see something you didn't see before. And then another cool thing that's starting up now, and really starting to be a big thing, is these live investigations. I'm going to start that also. Again, I just purchased a phone, upgraded to a new phone that allows me to do Facebook Live. So that's going to be really, really cool. my next investigations from now on, I'm still going to be doing the recording and all that kind of stuff, but I'm also going to start doing some, 5, 10, 15-minute live transmissions while we're in the middle of an investigation, so you people can see exactly what's going on, and maybe see something I don't. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's a new technology coming out. Again, another reason why I do a lot of pictures and video and audio is one of the things that I'm trying to prove personally myself is I want to be credible. I want to be a credible paranormal investigator based on, so when I say that something happened, or I caught something, or I picked something, you don't want another investigator or a scientist, or maybe even, oh, for God's sake, law enforcement, to come back and take a look at your stuff and say, man, no, that didn't happen. What are you talking about? I don't see that, or it doesn't say that. So that's another good thing about having good equipment and being able to go back and take a look at it. I'm for the credibility thing, so that's why I bought a little bit better equipment. Like I said, after my investigations and during my analysis, the investigation takes, what, a day? Or sometimes, no, I've been known to take a couple places. Casadega, and there's been a couple other bed and breakfasts that were haunted, and I spent 2 or 3 days there. I spent 4 days alone in Savannah. Savannah, oh my goodness. That place is one of the most haunted places in the country. Savannah, Georgia. And what I'll do is I'll spend my 1 or 2 days doing that, and then afterwards I'll relax for a little bit, and I'll take all my audio and video stuff and I'll put it on this computer, and man, I can spend 2 weeks going through video. There's so much going on, and you got yourself a good camera where you can do some zooms. What happened over there? What happened? What was that? What, did I see something? Or on doing your audio recordings, and you start doing an audio recording and you suddenly run into something that you didn't hear, you want to back it up and listen to it several more times. And another thing you can do with good audio software is you can get rid of all the outside noise, the hissing, people talking, that kind of stuff, so you can hear more, or you can speed up, or you can slow down the recording itself to get a better idea of, did you hear something or didn't you, and what did you actually hear. And also you can give that to somebody else. I have had other investigators take a look at some of the EVPs that I got behind me and take a look at it, and I'm same thing, prove me. Do you hear what I heard? And I'm doing pretty good. So far they've gotten surprising stuff. Yes, I have definitely run into a couple investigations in which I've had pictures or video or audio in which I cannot explain. Things that just should not have ever happened. And you go, what? I have, again, these EVPs. The idea of an EVP is you're doing an EVP and it's just you, or just you and your partner or whatever. There's only 2 of you, and one of you is speaking, and then you go back and listen to that recording, later on, and suddenly you're hearing another voice say something, and you're the only one that was there. So, again, I point that out to everybody that I know of. How do you explain that? I know how an audio recorder works. I know the electronics behind it, and I know what should pick up and what it shouldn't be. And that's, again, the good thing about audio analysis software is you can tell if it's just noise or if that's actually another voice. And where did that voice come from? So, going back real quick again and going over the things that, as far as I'm concerned, on the basics behind doing a paranormal investigation. You've got your daytime walkthrough, you've got a nighttime walkthrough, or you can do them both at the same time. The analysis, which you can do an analysis later on, or you can do analysis while you're doing your walkthrough, your investigation, and then the tools between the K2 meter and the pods and the REM pods, and your cameras and your audio recorders and your spirit box. Spirit box is cool. The thing about a spirit box is, personally myself, I've had a spirit box for 3 years now, and I have never ever gotten anything on a spirit box. And then I'll watch some of these television shows, these paranormal, especially Zach Bagans and his Ghost Adventures. I look at that thing, and they get spirit box hits all the time. I'm like, that's not real. That doesn't freaking happen. But I don't know, maybe he's luckier than I am. So anyway, and then my last part is I'll take everything back at the house, relax for a little bit, bring it in on the computer, my workstation here, and spend probably 1 to 2 weeks going over all and analyzing all the pictures, all the audio and all the video, and see if I can find something else that I didn't see while I was there. So, and yes, the computer that I have right now that I'm talking to in my workstation, which is the same one that I do all my analysis is, I built this computer myself. I built it to do specifically this workstation that they term a multimedia work center. I built this system and bought the parts just to do analysis on the pictures, repairing things on the pictures, taking out red eye, doing audio analysis and doing video analysis and doing video editing. That's what I built this computer for in the first place. So anyway, looking around, and it says that there's nobody else online and nobody's watching, and I have gotten no messages or number. So, oh well, it was fun doing it anyway. So I shall end this, and hope everybody have a really good weekend, and see if I get any feedback from this one, and if any questions or suggestions or anything, don't hesitate. So anyway, friends and family, have a good weekend, enjoy yourself, ghost busting crazy. Love y'all, bye.